Thank you for having me on. What I wanted to discuss was uh, some insight that I had as a top retailer of alcohol stationed right in front of a university and some of the responsibilities that come along with governing an institution where we're going to send tomorrow's leadership. And the University of Dayton is that type of university. They specialize in law. We have people there like Bob Taft, uh, who can be very influential not only in city government but state government as well. Um, as a retailer, I don't think it's in the best interest of our children for cashiers to sell uh, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of beer to a small group of individuals for frat parties or sorority parties. When you're doing that, it's very obvious that they're taking it over there for a lot of the underage students who are giving the money to the elder classmen, if you will, uh, so that they can purchase it legally, technically, and take it over there to disperse amongst the youth, which is impossible for Dayton's public safety officers to monitor because it happens all the time. And that's just one university in this country. So imagine throughout the country how many overdoses of alcohol result uh, in hospital visits, draining the economy, how much uh, time is invested in studies and trying to be a successful student, and it can compromise the profitability of the alcohol distributors. And we have a couple very powerful ones here locally. But in the end, I don't think that you're going to see a lot of decline in sales on the overall portfolio, if you will, because most of these kids are going to go to bars where it's much more easier to monitor who's drinking, how much they've had to drink, and making sure that we're doing it the legal way. That responsibility should fall on the retailers uh, and the university to enforce it. I know if you go down Brown Street, you'll see a large representation of law enforcement from Dayton at the UDFs and Speedways and Sunogos down there, Shells, that can keep an eye out for these large purchases. And we had such an incident with Officer Weber of the University of Dayton's public safety when he witnessed a large purchase from the store that I ran and followed the students over to, I believe it was Keyfaber, and did an ID check, did a thorough one, and found a lot of the kids were underage and had them pour all the beer out, which was a sensational job by the public safety officer. Not only making sure that the children are studying and doing what they're supposed to be doing, but also making sure that they knew that we were watching. There was incidents at the University of Dayton that were covered up from the media because they didn't want it to affect their enrollment for the following year. And such incidents resulted in death. I mean, there was a toilet paper roll through into a building while they were getting ready to go to a bar, local bar, that caught the apartment on fire and killed the student. There was also an incident where they climbed on top of the roof, started kicking the grate of the roof, and one of the students actually fell in and the fan cut his leg into the artery, and I believe he succumbed to his injuries. These are all things that we need to watch, especially if you put on top of it a recruiting violation that I witnessed in 2011 or 2012 with a local basketball player who had some real misogynistic rumors floating around from his high school that came to the university and was recruited heavily by Coach Miller, and then turned out to have some problems at my store. And when he did, the whole incident was overlooked because the assistant basketball coaches came over on behalf of Coach Miller to hush the situation so that they didn't have an infraction with a student, which would have cost them the scholarship probably, and maybe a lot more. As far as future recruits, parents, knowing that they were going to allow students like that to come there who turned out to have some issues. And we've seen it a lot. You've seen it at Duke University with the rugby team. You see it with students coming there that are just, they're not ready to function within the confines of an institution as fine as the University of Dayton. I wanted to share that with you because I think that we need to have a watchdog campaign that I try to tie into the U.S. for Hope program that I've developed to award people with citizenship awards like here in Waynesville with Mayor Charlie Sanders and his family and other outstanding achievements that people have.